is improving quality of life in people with T2DM, my experience with insulin co-formulation. This is my financial disclosure. And coming to the challenges of managing diabetes in India, coming to the Indian realities of T2DM management, first one is high carbohydrate diet, and second one is high postprandial glucose levels, and third one is patients uncontrolled on multiple OEDs, need for simplicity and convenience. These are the hurdles. So coming to the insulin co-formulation concept. So see this graph. The blue line represents the physiological insulin profile. See? And next the red line represents the co-formulation of basal plus bolus insulin, which mimics the physiological insulin secretion closely. And third line is green line. This is the premixed insulin.
Okay.
And fourth one is blue line. This is the bolus insulin. And coming to this co-formulation concept, co-formulation of basal insulin with bolus insulin in a single injection can mimic physiological insulin secretion closely, and it avoids the shoulder effect and variability of the predominated premixed insulins, thereby reducing the risk of hypoglycemia. See, the shoulder effect is nothing but it occurs usually following the hours after meals due to the interaction between the proteinated and non-proteinated insulins, thereby prolonging the proteinated short-acting insulin, potentiating the risk of hypoglycemia. This will be reduced by this co-formulation insulin, that is basal insulin plus with bolus insulin, and this simplify the insulin regimen and lower the injection burden. So coming to the Ida gas, which is a co-formulated insulin, can be a pragmatic solution for Indian realities of T2DM management at insulin initiation. Let us remind the Indian realities: the high carbohydrate diet, high postprandial glucose levels, and patient on T2DM uncontrolled on multiple OIDs, and need for convenience in insulin therapy. Only Ida gas tackles high carbohydrate diet with the major meals, and Ida gas provides total control, effectively addressing fasting hyperglycemia when without neglecting postprandial hyperglycemia, and this allays the fear of hypoglycemia with major meals. Suits the dietary pattern, administered with flex touch device, unmatched accuracy and least injection force. So this is the Ida gas is one insulin, one injection, and one device at one site, and one titration algorithm, and start and stay insulin. So coming to the guidelines, RSTA and ESI clinical practice recommendations for the management of type 2 diabetes mellitus in 2020, insulin therapy should be considered in all patients failing to achieve glycemic targets on 3 oral agents. So an option for insulin initiation is initiate with once a day Ida gas and intensify with BID Ida gas. And the factors facilitating success of insulin initiation are: the success factors for once a day Ida gas for it offers direct control of postprandial glucose, direct control of fasting plasma glucose, suitable in case of delayed insulin therapy, and simple initiation, easy to explain and understand, easy monitoring and titration, use of a single device, and offer subsequent intensification with convenience. But with once a day basal insulin doesn't offer direct control of postprandial glucose, and it is not suitable in case of delayed insulin therapy. It doesn't offer subsequent intensification with convenience. These are the drawbacks of the once a day basal insulin. Ida gas favors improved adherence and success of insulin initiation. So coming to the insulin initiation, once a day Ida gas versus OD Aiglar U100. Which insulin to choose when patients are uncontrolled on oral antidiabetic drugs? So a study is conducted on insulin naive patients with T2DM. 296 subjects were selected, and the duration is 0 to 26 weeks, and out of 296, 147 patients were put on ida gas with the OADs, and 149 patients were put on Iglar U100 with existing OADs. And see the results. And ida gas contains 70% of the basal insulin, insulin degludec, and 30% of the rapid acting insulin, insulin aspart. So 70% basal dose through once a day ida gas provides a similar fasting plasma glucose control as compared to OD Iglar U100. See the graph. The both are more or less similar in controlling the fasting plasma glucose from 166 to 102.6 milligrams per deciliter in reduction. So once a day ida gas offers significantly better fasting postprandial glucose control after the major meal missed by the basal insulin. So x-axis shows timing of the food: before breakfast 90 minutes after breakfast, before lunch 90 minutes after lunch, before dinner 90 minutes after dinner, bedtime 4 hours, and early morning 4 hours, and before breakfast. And y-axis self-monitoring of the plasma glucose in millimoles per liter. And see this graph. The blue represents the ida gas and grey color represents the Iglar U100, and both are similar: before breakfast 90 minutes after breakfast, before lunch and 90 minutes after lunch, before dinner but not after 90 minutes after dinner. There is a difference between the there is a hike of postprandial glucose with the basal insulin Iglar U100 but not with the ida gas, it maintaining the glycemic control. So this is the unaddressed postprandial glucose spikes after the major meal with basal insulin Iglar U100 57.42 milligrams per deciliter was addressed by the ida gas. Ida gas offsets the need for separate prandial insulin injection at initiation to control high plasma postprandial glucose levels commonly seen in Indian people with diabetes. So by controlling both fasting and postprandial glucose, once a day ida gas offers superior reduction in HbA1c as compared to OD Iglar U100. See the graph. Iglar U100 from 8.5 A1c to 7.3 or 4 A1c, and coming to the ida gas represented in blue color, 8.4 to 7 A1c reduction. So this is a superior HbA1c reduction towards the target, that is a 1.4% more reduction with the ida gas compared to the once a day Iglar U100. So options for insulin initiation: improved safety of once a day ida gas versus once a day Iglar U100. So this is the blue is always ida gas and grey color is Iglar U100. And see the graph and right hand side, and first graph shows the 27% lower risk of overall confirmed hypoglycemia with ida gas and 25% of lower risk of nocturnal confirmed hypoglycemia with ida gas, not with Iglar U100. So in patients uncontrolled on OADs, insulin initiation must offer better efficacy without compromising on safety. So this first graph shows the bar diagram: HbA1c on x-axis and proportion of patients at 26 weeks percentage on y-axis, and 43% of patients on ida gas they achieved HbA1c reached less than 7% without hypoglycemia, and 25% of patients on Iglar U100 achieved HbA1c less than 7% without hypoglycemia, and p-value is less than 0.01. So with ida gas, 72% more patients achieve their targets without experiencing hypoglycemia than OD Iglar U100. So ida gas offers a flexible regimen for people with T2DM and fits into their lives. So ida gas offers flexibility in the timing of insulin administration provided it is dosed with the main meals. The combination of ida and IASP is fully soluble and with no need for resuspension. Why this flexibility with ida gas is because of the ultra long action of the insulin degludec, it is more than 30 hours. So if the time varies while giving the injections also, the glycemia will be maintained, euglycemia will be maintained. So see these figures, Monday to Saturday, Sunday, 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. and there will be a flexibility when the patient have flight at 7 p.m. Even though if he takes insulin at 2 p.m. with main meal, it will maintain the blood glucose levels on Tuesday. And coming to the Sunday, he missed the dose at 8 a.m. and he take the insulin at 11 a.m. with brunch also, the blood glucose will be maintained. So coming to the case study. Patient uncontrolled on multiple OADs. Case study 1. Initiation with ida-gasp. 64-year-old male, known case of type 2 DM on triple combination therapy. Duration of diabetes is 10 years. Has uncontrolled hyperglycemia. HbA1c of 9%, 9.5%. He had also had weight loss of 2 to 3 kgs. Visited a clinical practitioner in Bellary, started an insulin premix 30/70 twice daily. His blood glucose did not improve but used to have recurrent hypoglycemia to the extent requiring the hospitalization. So this happened in spite of good dose titration. That means that he had a brittle diabetes. So during his visit to Bangalore, he was started an ida-gasp once daily 10 units, with which his blood glucose improved. There was no hypoglycemia now. His HbA1c did improve by 1%. Now he stated that his post-dinner and post-lunch sugars are high. So he was asked to split his insulin to 8 units in the morning and 6 units in the night, with which his blood glucose further improved. For the post-lunch hyperglycemia, he was started on alpha-glucosidase inhibitor acarbose 50 mg. Now his HbA1c further improved to 7.5%. Had gained 3 kilos of weight. Yeah, he was happy about not getting hypoglycemia with a better control. He rang me up last month telling that his sugars have increased a bit, and he wanted to consult. So achieving glycemic control without hypoglycemia is a balancing act. So on right hand side, see the balance, and one arm there is hyperglycemia and the other arm hypoglycemia, and the middle there is a glycemic control. So you should balance blood glucose levels without hyperglycemia or without hypoglycemia and maintaining the euglycemia. So healthcare providers are faced with the dilemma that improving glycemic control with intensive treatment is confounded by the risk of hypoglycemia. So this was achieved by improving education, modifying treatment, that is from pre-mixed insulin to like this formulated insulins like ida-gasp, where the hypoglycemia incidence will be less, and by counseling the patient regarding the diet and exercise and timing of food and lifestyle modification, reduction of weight, cessation of smoking, and cessation of alcohol. All this you have to counsel the patient before giving the treatment, and empowering the patient. You have to discuss the patient. You have to strengthen the patient. You should gain the belief of the patient, and you should give the options for treatment to the patient. You should discuss the complications of the uncontrolled diabetes with the patient, and what are the benefits if the patient is on good glycemic control. You should discuss and should gain the confidence. You should develop the positive attitude of the patient towards the life and improving the quality of life. And next is incorporating the latest technological advances. This is nothing but by introducing the new insulin pens, not the vials and syringes. These are the old ones. Now coming to the flex touch pens and insulin pumps. Latest are the insulin pumps and the self monitoring of the blood glucose by glucometers, and continuous blood glucose monitoring by various devices like Dexcom and Insulate and like that. Most of the techniques were come, and about Freestyle Liver Pro, These are with these we can frequently monitor blood glucose, and we can titrate the dose, and we can prevent the hypoglycemia. So these all may help to reduce the frequency of the hypoglycemic events and minimize the development of the impaired awareness and improve overall patient care. So, fear of future hypoglycemic episodes is common with people with T2DM, which may cause the patients to modify their insulin dose, compromising glycemic control and exposing the patient to long-term risk. Because hypoglycemia is such a dreadful situation. Once you expose to the hypoglycemia, patient is afraid of taking the tablets or insulin, everything. So after a severe episode, how will be the reaction of the patients? So after a severe episode, 84.2% patients experience fear of future episodes, and after a mild or moderate episode, 29.9% patients experience fear of future episodes, and due to fear of future events, 36.7% of patients report decreasing their insulin dose without consulting the doctor, and 11.7% patients report missing insulin injections. So they are not taking the insulin injections. So these are all the future. So coming to the impact of the hypoglycemia on patients and the healthcare system. A treatment that provides a good glycemic control with a limited risk of hypoglycemia would be a welcome addition to the diabetes management. So coming to this type 1 diabetes and type 2 diabetes, with intensive treatment with insulin in type 1 diabetes and intensive treatment with the OADs and insulin in type 2 diabetes, on one arm with tight glycemic control, there is increased incidence of hypoglycemia, and thereby results in fear of hypoglycemia and reduced quality of life, which results in negative impact on healthcare and budget and quality of care, and lost productivity and increased healthcare costs and reduced medication adherence and compromised glycemic control and increased diabetic complications, and which results in negative impact on healthcare budget and quality of care. And another end, tight glycemic control results in reducing the long-term complications and improved quality of life and decreased healthcare costs and positive impact on healthcare budget and quality of care. So the patient actions resulting from hypoglycemia in the 4 weeks from following baseline. So dark blue represents the type 1 diabetes, light blue is type 2 diabetes. So 47.1% of type 1 diabetes and 61.3% of type 2 diabetes patients consulted their doctor or nurse following the hypoglycemia, and 47.4% of type 1 and 62% of type 2 required any form of medical assistance, and 44.7, almost 44.3 of type 1 and type 2 both are equal. Almost they increase the calorie intake for the fear of hypoglycemia, and 17.6% of type 1 and 21.6% of type 2 patients avoided the physical exercise for the fear of hypoglycemia, and 47.4% of patients with type 1 diabetes, 36.7% of patients with type 2 diabetes reduced the insulin doses, and 12.7% of T1DM and 11.7% of T2DM missed the insulin injections. So all this result, and 69.7% of T1DM, 16.9% of T2DM increased the frequency of blood glucose monitoring for the fear of hypoglycemia. So utilizing the flexibility while still aiming for the total glycemic control in Indian reality. So this is a busy slide, domains of flexibility of various insulins and flexibility domain. Coming to the basal insulin, NPH and Detamir, Glargine, Degludec. NPH is flexible, but flexibility in mean injection time gap is not available. Flexibility in dose adjustment is there, and low burden. And Detamir is flexibility is at bedtime flexible and not available in flexibility in meal injection time gap. Self dose titration algorithms are available, low burden to the patient. And coming to the Glargine basal insulin, flexibility is there. At the same time, every day, any time of the day, not available in flexibility. And algorithms are available for self-dose titration and low burden. Coming to the degludec, more flexible, it can be given at any time of the day and not available in flexibility time gap, and uh, dose self titration algorithms are available low burden. And coming to the dual action biphasic human insulins and biphasic aspart or Lispro, biphasic human insulins twice a day with antipodal meals 30 minutes before a meal. Flexibility is there, medium burden to the patient. Biphasic aspart or Lispro, flexibility is there, once or twice or thrice. Biphasic aspart daily or twice daily, must be administered with antipodal meals just 5 minutes before the meal or 5 minutes after a meal. Self-dose, self-titration algorithms are available, low to medium burden. And insulin, coming to the insulin degludec aspart ida gas, more flexible with major meals of the day, which need not be necessarily the same meals of every day. Twice daily dose need not necessarily be administered with antipodal meals, just 5 minutes before or 5 minutes after a meal. Dose self-titration algorithms are available, low to medium burden. So, coming to the basal plus, one basal injection with 1 or 2 prandial doses. The bolus dose given with the major meal of the day, which need not be the same meal every day. This is the advantage. This is the flexibility with the basal plus, and depends on the choice of rapid acting insulin, regular insulin, aspart, glucosin or Lispro. 5 minutes before or 5 minutes after a meal, high burden. So basal bolus, 1 or 2 basal injections with the 3 prandial doses, no flexibility, and depends on the choice of the rapid acting insulin and highest burden to the patient. And intensive treatment is 1 ida gas dose with 2 IASP doses. The ida gas dose is given with the major meal of the day, which need not be the same meal every day, as I said previously. 5 minutes before to 5 minutes after a meal, flexibility is there, high burden. So ida gas reduces the requirement for multiple injections and offers a flexibility when timed with major meal and still help control both the postprandial glucose and fasting plasma glucose. So coming to the second case, patient uncontrolled on basal insulin. A 60-year male type 2 with type 2 DM and 12 years of duration and triple drug combination of glimepiride 2 mg and metformin 1000 mg and voglibose 0.3 mg twice daily. His BMI is 24 and HbA1c is 9.5%. Fasting blood sugar is 204 milligrams per deciliter. Postprandial blood sugar is 350 milligrams per deciliter. Was started on insulin glargine 18 units at bedtime, with which there was some improvement, and HbA1c decreased to 8.2 by 3 months. He continued to have postprandial hyperglycemia. So he was advised basal bolus regimen, but he was reluctant for 4 times insulin. So he was suggested twice daily ida gas, 12 units in the morning and 8 units in the night. So his blood glucose was improved. The dose was further titrated to 16 units in the morning and 10 units in the night. Now his fasting blood sugar is 100, postprandial blood sugar is 198, post-lunch is 196 and post-dinner is 156 milligrams per deciliter, and his HbA1c came down to 7.4%, and he has been further advised to increase his exercise. There has been no hypoglycemia. So coming to this, insulin optimization and intensification should follow the disease progression. So the x-axis represents the treatment optimization and intensification, and y-axis shows the beta cell functioning beta cells. So as the disease in the beginning, the functioning beta cells are more. The diabetes will be controlled with the lifestyle and OADs. As the disease progresses, the functioning beta cells will decline by 4% every year. So patient requires insulin along with the existing OADs. So insulin should be initiated. So next, as the disease further progresses, we have to optimize the insulin and titrate the dose to reach maintain the glycemic targets. So next, As the disease further progresses, you have to intensify the insulin, with the co-formulated insulin or basal and 1 to 4 bolus insulin. Intensify for mealtime insulin coverage for. So, treatment complexity is a common reason for people failing to intensify their treatment regimen successfully. The perception that insulin regimens are complex and difficult to self-titrate is a common reason why the patients and physicians are reluctant to progress from a basal to basal bolus regimen. So, among the patients with the treatment intensification to basal plus bolus, 35% discontinued the bolus and 32% were adherent and 32% patients were non-adherent. So coming to this slide, IDA-GASP offers simplified regimen for patients with fear, self-monitoring of blood glucose test, SMEG tests and injections versus basal bolus therapy. IDA-GASP offers simplified regimen with 22 fewer SMEG tests and 14 fewer injections, 14 fewer needles per week compared with basal bolus therapy, which requires once daily basal injection, SMEG test plus a bolus injection and SMEG test with every meal, breakfast, lunch, dinner, 28 needles and 28 SMEG tests per week. See this graph from Monday to Sunday with first main meal. With IDA-GASP, you can have one reading with the first main meal Monday to Wednesday, and Thursday to Saturday with second main meal you can see the monitor the SMBC. So next, what is the insulin intensification? IDA-GASP versus basal plus bolus. Which insulins to choose when patients need convenience? This study was conducted from 0 weeks to 38 weeks. 532 patients were enrolled with type 2 DM who are uncontrolled on basal insulin. So 267 patients were put on OD IDA-GASP along with existing OADs, and 265 patients were put on IGLAR U100 with plus IASP once a day plus existing OADs, and up to 26 weeks treatment initiation period, and intensification period is 26 to 38 weeks. Once a day IDA-GASP made into twice a day IDA-GASP along with existing OADs, and IGLAR U100 plus IASP once a day to twice a day or thrice a day plus existing OADs from 26 to 38 weeks in the intensification period. So see the results. Co-formulation versus basal bolus therapy results. There is a similar reduction in HbA1c. So with both IDA-GASP and IGLAR U100 plus IASP, and similar reduction in fasting plasma glucose with both, and confirmed hypoglycemia numerically lower with IDA-GASP, 10% lower at 26 weeks and 14% lower at 38 weeks period, and nocturnal confirmed hypoglycemia significantly lower with the IDA-GASP, 45% lower at 26 weeks duration and 39% lower at 38 weeks of duration. So IDA-GASP balances efficacy and safety with convenience as compared to basal plus bolus therapy. So week 26 but week 38 IDA-GASP versus IGLAR U100 plus IASP, HbA1c was similar in both cases. Overall confirmed hypoglycemia is also similar. Nocturnal confirmed hypoglycemia is significantly lower with IDA-GASP, and total daily insulin dose is significantly lower with IDA-GASP. Total number of injections are fewer with the IDA-GASP compared to the basal bolus. So BID IDA-GASP versus basal bolus, patient reported outcomes and short formed questionnaire 36B2. A higher overall change from baseline in the mental score was seen with IDA-GASP versus basal bolus. So this is the slide, the physical score in the first graph. There is no much difference in the physical score with IDA-GASP, BID and IDA-GASP, OD and IASP, and there is physical functioning also minus 0.2% with IDA-GASP BID and minus 0.5% with IDA-GASP OD plus IASP, and minus 1 with IDA-GASP BID, and 0.2% bodily pain with ide-gas BID and minus zero point 0.4 with ide-gas ide-OD plus IASP, and general health is more with 1.2% more with ide-gas BID and 0.5 with ide-gas body plus IASP. And coming to the mental score is more with ide-asp. So, and vitality is more 0.2% more with the ide-gasp compared to the ide-OD plus IASP minus 0.6, and 1.4 more social functioning with the ide-gasp BAD, and minus 0.9 with ide-OD plus IASP, and social functioning and role emotional mental health are all more with ide-gasp. Coming to the summary, ide-gasp in people with T2DM addresses Indian reality of high carbohydrate diet and high plasma postprandial glucose, and offers improved glycemic control and thus reduces risk of future complications, offers improved safety with simplicity and convenience, offers flexibility and can fit into the lives of the people with T2DM, and has simple monitoring and titration requirement, comes in improved delivery devices that can make insulin injection a seamless experience. Thank you. Thank you for giving this opportunity to Novo Nordisk team. Thanks for all patient listening colleagues.